Thank you for coming this morning. We are in fact starting our consultations. Here I thought we'd start off with Sigatoka, of course, with our consultations. We're off to Nandi this afternoon and we'll Latoka tomorrow, and hopefully Ba later on. The idea is to essentially just catch up with the key stakeholders in the various locations throughout Fiji. Tell you essentially what we have been doing in respect to the response to COVID-19, and in particular the announcement that's been made regarding the economic recovery within the COVID-19 framework. Dr. James Fong was going to join us. He'll be here soon. Dr. James Fong has of course been leading the charge together with Dr. Alicia Sokar and Chemesa Tundravu, who are the three key doctors who are, if you like, the specialists in this area, and have been guiding the medical framework. He's now, of course, the acting PS for health also. With that in mind, we thought we'd start off with him, but he's in Nandi held up, but he'll be here soon. I wanted to just talk to you very roughly about the announcements that have been made. Wanted to essentially also hear from you in terms of your ideas going forward, in terms of your challenges that you have had. Of course, everybody's had a number of challenges, right from government to business people, different businesses. Those involved in the tourism sector have been affected quite differently to those who may be, for example, selling peanut bean at the bus stand. So everybody's been affected, but in different ways. And how do we mitigate against those new risks that have developed and going forward? What are we going to do regarding that? We also wanted to give a huge plug for the Care Fiji app. A lot of people don't realize how important the Care Fiji app is. The reality of the matter is that there's a new norm now in the world. How we do business, how we interact, how we travel is going to all change, highly significant. One of the key issues regarding all of this is confidence. Is confidence, and confidence regarding people being able to interact with each other, being able to travel to each other's countries. And how do we build that confidence? One of the ways you build that confidence is that people think and believe that the tracking system, your health systems are actually credibility, or have credibility and have integrity. The Care Fiji app is highly significant. I'll give you an example, and so I have to introduce everybody here. Of course, we've got the PS for Tourism, Commerce and Trade, Shaheen Ali. Next to him is Tupo Baravilala, who is the Director General of the Digital Fiji program in Fiji. The PS for Economy, Makreta Konrote. And Shiri Gardner is also a local boy from Kavanangasau. He's the head of fiscal planning and strategic thinking in the Ministry of Economy. Now, if all of us are sitting here today, and if all of you have your apps on now, hopefully you do have your app on, and then say, God forbid, in a week's time, assuming I get COVID-19. Now what they'll do is they'll ask me, who are the people you've been in touch with? Now many of you won't remember who's sitting next to you. Because, a week later you have so many different meetings, so many different interactions. So they have to trace back. So the contact tracing app simply records the phones that have been around you for more than 15 minutes and within 2 meters. The person standing outside there, that won't register with my phone. Only the people who are here. So it makes it easier. So if I have COVID-19, then I give them access to my phone. They simply download the numbers that have been close to me. Then they'll call you and say, look, a person who's got COVID-19, you've been in close contact with them, please come in, we can check you, or look after your health, etc. That's the way it works. So it's critically important. The more Fijians, more people that have actually got the app, then we can tell the rest of the world, say, hey, it's okay in Fiji, if somebody has COVID-19, they'll be able to track them down really quickly and you'll be safe. So the percentage of the uptake is very, very important. And all of you should put it on. We have so far, how many people have downloaded the book? 24,000 people have so far downloaded. And that really should be increased significantly. It's been about a week since we launched it. and we need to increase that. Because then you can tell the tourists, and now part of the new framework is that any tourist that comes to Fiji has to download the app. That's the requirement. We've gone to the extent that if they don't have a smartphone, they can buy one at the airport before they leave the airport, before they leave biosecurity for $100. But they must have the app. So if more Fijians and more people have the app, then we can tell the rest of the world, look, 60% of Fijians have the app, 70% of the Fijians have the app. All the people who work at the hotels have the app. So those of you who are hoteliers here, all your staff need to have the app on. So Warwick can market himself and say, no, everybody here has the app. So people will feel safe. So I'll get to also talk to you about it later. So what essentially we have announced is, in the budget, we had to reconfigure our budget. We announced our budget. Our fiscal year is from the 1st of August to the 31st of July every year. Our budget will be delivered for the next financial year on the 17th of July. We're making that announcement now. The budget will be delivered on the 17th of July. By law, we have to give 1 week break, and then the following week, the budget will be debated and passed. Okay. That's the way the system works. And we obviously have the Permanent Secretary and her team have had numerous meetings or consultations with all the different ministries. We have to sharpen our pencils, as they say. We have to tighten our belts, which the government is doing. This is why we delivered what we call a supplementary budget or COVID-19 response budget this year, because we knew that our revenues have depleted. So our main source of revenue from the tourism sector obviously is quite significant, but it also contributes a large proportion towards our revenue generation. Tourists, when they come to Fiji, they pay VAT, they pay STT, they pay ECAL. Now, we then of course use those monies to carry out government's operations. So if the revenue is drying up, obviously your expenditure needs to come down too. But at the same time, we need to be able to provide particular level of assistance. There are a lot of people who are unemployed. Those of you, a lot of people who may be working for you, they are no longer employed. Giving them access to a certain amount of superannuation funds, but government now is providing unemployment benefits for them. That's critically important to do that. We've also, as you know, with the new announcements that have been made, we've relaxed some of the conditions. So certain places that weren't open before are now open. For example, gyms and cinemas are now open. They can operate for 50%. So those people who used to sell tickets at the cinema now actually have a job because they can come back to work and start selling tickets. Those people who worked at the cafeteria at the cinemas, they of course now have a job. They can sell the popcorns and the cokes and what have you. So when they of course have a job, they have more money to spend, so they can go down to the shops and buy maybe a new shirt or new pants or whatever it is. That's how the economy works. It's critically important for us to start opening up the economy for those purposes, but at the same time managing the health risks. As you know, New Zealand declared itself, COVID contained or COVID free within 3-4 days. They had now, I think, about 5 people, I think, 8 people now have got COVID-19. So they may have to roll back some of the measures. We don't want to get into a space where we open it up so much and then we quickly have to roll it back. You'll be the first people who will complain about it. People generally complain about it. So we are taking what we call a measured approach, yet at the same time allowing for economic activity to take place. School children to school. 12 and 13 from next week Tuesday. The following week, all the years are going back to school. So buses will start moving, they start buying things, they come to town. It creates that economic activity, but at the same time we need to manage the health risks. So we are now, of course, formulating a budget in that respect. We are getting a lot of submissions. I understand some of you have already made submissions to us. We'll be going through those submissions. There are a lot of ideas. We've started up, for example, new loan scheme. For the first time, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce. We're working with the Employers Federation, Institute of Accountants. So people can, when they come and apply for these loans that we're giving, soft loans, concessional loans in fact, to micro-enterprises, existing micro-enterprises, new micro-enterprises, existing small to medium enterprises. We're giving them money for their working capital. A lot of them can't pay their rent, for example. They need to survive, so we're giving them loans over a 5-year period. very low interest rate, starting from 0.5% to 0.5%. So these are some of the measures that we have put in place. I just wanted to set that as a sort of the background before we open it up to the floor, but I'll get the members of the team to say a few words in their respective areas and what we are doing regarding the further opening up of the economy and how we can actually ignite a lot more domestic activity also. There's a lot of new thought coming around. A lot of people are saying, well, hang on, we are too dependent on tourism. This is why we're in this problem today. But I had a meeting 2 days ago where some countries in the West Indies, about 80% of the economy, 70% of the economy is entirely dependent on tourism. We, of course, have been over the past number of years trying to create diversity in our economy, trying to share the risk, getting into, for example, telecommunications and various other great jobs too. But the reality of the matter is that all the economies in the world have been affected. Never before in the history, I think, of the world that there has been such a huge shutdown between all the countries. Even during the Spanish flu, they did not have this kind of shutdown. So we, of course, are in new and uncharted waters. A lot of the developed countries are facing huge issues too, but they, of course, have much bigger capacity. I mean, recently, with the Australian package, about $15.6 billion. Essentially, the Reserve Bank of Australia, lent money to the Australian government, and they issued them with bonds, yield rate of 0.08%. 0.08%. Obviously, developing countries like Fiji and others don't have the capacity to do that. So, a lot of these countries are facing a number of challenges, and we want to work together with them. We made a number of announcements. I'd like to talk to you about that a bit later on. But before I do that, and I'd like to invite perhaps the PS for Economy to start off and just say a few words, and then we'll move on to PS Tourism, and then go to say a few words. Thank you.